Live from Washington, I'm Aisha Tanzim and you're watching Access Point. Hello and welcome. A leaked letter by an Indian diplomat referring to the Mumbai attacks recently created an uproar in the Pakistani media. Indian media has often been just as hawkish against Pakistan. As the two nuclear-armed neighbors struggle to improve ties, how is media helping or hurting these efforts? Let's find out from our experts. Joining us via Skype from New Delhi is Satish Singh. He's the editor of India Live and has been the editor of Zee News in the past. On phone from Lahore, we have Imtiaz Alam, the executive director of South Asia Free Media Association, or SAFMA. And on the phone from Islamabad, we have Hamid Mir, undoubtedly one of the most famous news personalities and the host of the longest-running talk show in Pakistan. His show, Capital Talk, runs on GeoTV. Gentlemen, welcome to Access Point. Let me start with you, Mr. Alam, and with the simplest of questions. Is the Pakistani and Indian media helping relationships or hurting relationships between the two countries?
When there are critical times and where there are some kind of tension and some issues arose which are of conflicting nature or emotional nature, both sides indulge into a great hype, even build the war sentiments or sentiments of hatred across the borders. Media on both sides is very hawkish and basically addresses its domestic market. And that is that they try to build up nationalist sentiments on both sides of the border. And this creates a situation where politicians feel difficult even to retreat from the rhetoric the media creates or the jingoism the media creates. It happened when whenever something happens, like for example, when some Indian soldiers were beheaded across the LOC line of control, the Indian media created a great hype while such incidents have been happening, and that was despicable, and such incidents have been happening in the past.
So let me bring in, you bring in a good incident. Let me bring in Mr. Singh at this point. Mr. Singh, that incident of beheading, I talked to several editors and producers at that time. Indian journalists who were covering the area knew that that had been happening for a while, and yet the Indian media created a huge hype. Why do you think the media becomes so jingoistic after every incident?
You see, there is a difference between being jingoist and, just working under a situation of national security. So you can't just imagine everybody to cross that line. So I believe that if the facts are there on the ground, you have something to report. So it should not be considered as jingoism, whether it is from Pakistan or from India. I think my view is different. I think for a change, and it's change for better, that in media across the border is playing a very constructive and a very evolving role now, and that is a good thing, which is kind of a break.
Okay, Mr. Singh, we cannot hear you. There's something wrong with your Skype, so I'll put you on hold while we fix that. In the meantime, let me go to Mr. Hamid Mir in Islamabad. Mr. Mir, do you think media is playing a constructive role, as Mr. Singh says, or do you think it's very hawkish on both sides, as Mr. Alam says?
Compare the role of the Indian media and the Pakistani media in last 3-4 years, immediately after the Mumbai attacks in November 2008, the media on both sides played a very negative role. And at that time, both Pakistani and Indian media, they were acting like the proxies of the Indian army and the Pakistan army. And both Pakistani media and Indian media, they tried to spread the fire of hatred for the countries by some baseless allegations against each other. But with the passage of time, I must say that now the Indian media and the Pakistani media is learning lessons from their past mistakes. And the biggest evidence is the joint venture by the Jang Group, which is the biggest newspaper group in Pakistan, and the Times of India, which is a very
You're
famous
referring to
newspaper.
Aman Ki Asha, which is a joint venture. We'll come to that
We'll
come to that in a minute. Please stay with us, Mr. Mir. Please stay with us, Mr. Mir. We'll come to Aman Ki Asha in a minute, but let's find out what the public thinks about media's role and what it is doing for the bilateral relationship. And for that, we reach out to our social media guru, Sarah Zaman. Sarah, what are you hearing?
Aisha, when it comes to public perceptions of Indian and Pakistani media's role in bilateral relations, the comments on our social media platforms are mostly very critical of Indian media. Now, must clarify, pretty much all of the comments we got here are from Pakistan, and we don't have the views of Indian audiences in our show today. But on Facebook, Asma Chattha says, Pakistani media is playing a positive role. It criticizes when necessary, but they're not like Indian media, which always presents a negative image of Pakistan. Daniel Kelani says Pakistani media is promoting Indian culture, but Indian media is not promoting Pakistani culture. He says Pakistani electronic media wants to promote good relations with India. And Farhat Abbasi says that Pakistani media is being softer than what it should be. Indian media works in the best interest of its own country, and I appreciate it for that. A lot of people have expressed similar thoughts. They think Pakistani media doesn't criticize India as much as it should on key issues like Kashmir, and that its coverage often hurts Pakistan's position in the region. And many in particular are very critical of Jio's reporting on the Ajmal Kasab case. And we also have some video comments from Islamabad. Let's take a quick look.
Pakistani media or Indian media both दोनों biased हैं. They are just like on war footings. एक दूसरे के ऊपर कीचड़ उछालना. नॉट ओनली एक्टिव मीडिया में सोशल मीडिया का जो रोल है वो भी बड़ा ख़तरनाक है. जो मूवीज़ हैं वो भी बड़ी हॉस्टाइल हैं और यूँ लगता है जैसे वो वार प्रोवोक कर रहे हों एक दूसरे के ख़िलाफ़.
बड़ा अच्छा रोल प्ले कर रहा है मीडिया और मज़ीद इसको इस लेवल पे मीडिया की एफर्ट से इन जो जितने इनकी क़यादत है इनको आपस के करीब लाया जा सकता है.
So Aisha, there you have it. While some think that media is on war footing on both sides, other people think it's actually playing a positive role.
Now, your commenters, and particularly people on the street, made some very interesting comments, Sarah. And I want to go to Mr. Singh and Mr. Mir, who are both sitting in the center of the news business in India and Pakistan. First of all, coming to you, Mr. Singh, one of the viewers said, Indian media is working in the best interest of its country. Is that good journalism? Should journalists work for the interest of their country, or should they just present the truth as they see it?
Media in both the countries should work for the best of their country. That's for one. Secondly, they should not spread hatred and do warmongering. No, I am not one of them who supports that. And when you refer to Aman Ki Asha, which is an initiative by a giant media house of this country, that is India, I think we have a hope for future. And as Hamid said a little ago, that stripping the past, now the media is also looking at the constructive side, wherein the cultural frontiers, at least between the two countries, should break down. Let these territorial lines be there. But I'm very happy that you see the execution of Kasab here in India and the brutal killing of say Sarabjit. After that, nothing happened. That's not a small thing to happen. You see, otherwise in the old days, it would have been, at least if not a war between the two countries, at least media would be warring with each other. So we are.
So you think public is improving? Since you mentioned Kasab and one of our viewers did as well, I want to come to you, Mr. Mir. Jio faced a lot of criticism and caught a lot of flack over Ajmal Kasab footage, and that actually takes me back to my original question. What Jio was doing was reporting on the news as they saw it. Do you think media should always do what's in the best interest of their country, or should they just report the truth as they see it?
Who will decide what is the national interest? I think if any Pakistani cross the border, go into India or Afghanistan and organize some kind of terrorist activity, create problem in other country, kill some innocent people, and then caught and his nationality or citizenship is revealed, I think he is damaging the national interest of my country. And I think he is the enemy of my country. So if Ajmal Kasab was a Pakistani and he was involved in the killing of innocent people in Mumbai, and it was proved that he was a Pakistani, then he is the enemy of Pakistan. And this is the responsibility of any responsible Pakistani journalist to
reveal that.
And you raise Let me clarify one thing. Let me clarify one thing. It's because Jio is the most popular TV channel in Pakistan. That's why many people believe that it was Jio which revealed the nationality of Ajmal Kasab first time. But the reality is that one British newspaper, Observer, was the first to reveal the nationality of Ajmal Kasab, and then Jio carried that story, and we sent our reporters to the village of Ajmal Kasab near Lahore, and that's how we confirmed. We only confirmed that.
You confirmed. Mr. Mir, you also raise a very interesting point, and I want to bring Mr. Alam, you into the discussion since your organization deals with both sides of the border. This question that Mr. Mir raised, who decides what's national interest? We see people who think that if you report something, you're going, quote unquote, against the national interest. But as Mr. Mir points out, national interest may be multiple things.
You see that national interest to everybody is different from everybody, and people have different kind of views. Some people say that the food security is the primary issue of security, or human security is the primary security. Military security is not the primary security. So there could be difference of opinion within civil society, within parties and institutions. Similarly, it is true in India. What is the national interest? But what media should be looking at? Is it hurting the public interest? Or what is public interest? That you are not putting people at war against each other. That you are not spreading hatred among people. That you are not putting one section of people in one geographical area or one country against other people in other countries. We have seen it. For example, let us in Pakistan accepted that when Mumbai terrorism took place, the media went into a mode of denial, self-denial. I was the one who exposed this in Mr. Hamid's program. And I know that what was the jiffy at that time while saying this, that yes, this guy is from Pakistan. And now when there was some fight between these two officials of the Indian Interior Ministry and the Mumbai
so Mr. Alam,
they revealed some deeds. In Pakistan, there were great upsurge in the media. Okay, this terrorism was organized.
So let me then move on to this point, Mr. Alam, and I want to bring you in, Mr. Singh, on this. Do you think it's actually in the public interest to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, no matter what happens?
With caution. I would say that both countries, the media, everybody should exercise caution. It's about, when you're talking about national interest, what is national interest? At least we can have a common minimum definition of
national interest.
National interest, that anything which is in the interest, by and large interest of both the nations. Say, the dividend of peace is, of course, better than, what happens in a war. So that's what I think I endorse with Mr. Alam when he says that the truth should come out, and truth should come out in the best interest of both the society, the people, and both the countries.
Now, I want to take the discussion in another direction. Mr. Mir, I want to ask you, when you're reporting on a story, how much pressure is there on you to report a story in a way that you think the public might want to see it? Do you keep that in mind?
You see, there are many sensitive issues in Pakistan which public want that the media should report the truth. But the establishment and the intelligence agencies, they put pressure on us that we should remain silent in the national interest. Like the issue of the enforced disappearances, like the situation in Balochistan. And now there is a recent development that an Indian newspaper published a statement of a retired Indian official, Satish Verma, that the Mumbai attacks were actually the conspiracy of the Indian establishment. So the Pakistani military establishment, they have started propaganda against Jio TV, that Jio TV was a tool in the hands of the Indian establishment, and that's why they revealed the identity of the Ajmal Kasab. And now these days, on the social media, the intelligence agencies
are spreading propaganda that Ajmal Kasab was not a Pakistani. He was an Indian national. He was a Hindu, and Jio TV was responsible for portraying Ajmal Kasab as a Pakistani Muslim. But I think that it is still the reality that Ajmal Kasab was a Pakistani. But the establishment want us to say that he was a Hindu, he was an Indian. So what is the national interest? The national interest is that we should point out all those who create problems across the border. Maybe Ajmal Kasab was hired by some Indian intelligence, but the fact is that he was a Pakistani, he was a Muslim, and he was used. I don't know whether it was a conspiracy of the Indian establishment or the Pakistani establishment, but we are facing a lot of pressure after the publishing of this story in an Indian newspaper, and the Pakistani establishment is trying to blackmail us. They are putting pressure on us. They are trying to twist our arms, and they are spreading hatred through social media against Jio TV, and they are trying to portray that we are playing in the hands of the Indian establishment, and they say that, look, this is the evidence. The Indian newspaper is saying
Mr. Mir, let me ask you again. You say that this pressure is going on right now, even so many years after Mumbai attack and even after the death of Ajmal Kasab?
Yes, even if you monitor the social media in Pakistan, the Pakistani intelligence agencies, they have established many special cells. They operate thousands of fake Twitter accounts. They operate hundreds of fake Facebook accounts, and they spread hatred against all those journalists in Pakistani media who try to speak truth, who try to tell their countrymen that what is the situation in Balochistan and what is the situation of the enforced disappearances and what is the double game going on in our country. Even some judges of the superior judiciary, they are also victim of this propaganda campaign. So
okay, let me come back to you, Mr. Mir. You've mentioned the intelligence agency. I want to find out what other pressures are there. Mr. Singh, you work in a newsroom. You're the editor. When you're making a decision about how to cover a story, what angle to take, whether to make it more hawkish or less hawkish, what are you thinking?
I am not at all hawkish. And I tell my newsroom that wherever I have worked, I have said only one thing: the future belongs to peace, coexistence. And one of our prime minister used to say that you can change everything, you can't change your neighbor.
Okay, so
the dividend of peace,
let me then ask you.
Is much more than everything else.
Okay, Mr. Singh, let me just ask you. Mr. Singh, let me just quickly.
The contours of the national interest.
Mr. Singh, let me quickly put in a question here. So, what about other news editors around India? There are TV channels who, as Mr. Alam pointed out, after the beheadings on LOC and some other incidences, went very hawkish. What kind of pressures are on there? Are there market pressures? Are there agency pressures, as Mr. Mir pointed out, or is there something else?
I think everything is in your hand. You can exercise moderation, and I believe so, and I have seen it so, and I think you guys will endorse it, that the moderation and semblance of caution and a bit of normalcy has come down the years. It is evolving. Number one. Number two, there are hawkish people, and I'm not denying that they are not in India. They are in newsroom as well, but they have also they will realize, and they have realized a bit, that the future belongs to the people of both the countries, and both countries, they come together. I'm not saying that change the boundary line. No. Both countries, like what we have seen in the last 2 years, that the economic initiatives has been made, and hats off to both the rulers of the country that who have taken this economic initiative forward.
And particularly the Nawaz government is...
Even those who are hawkish.
Particularly this Nawaz government is very active and heavy on the economic initiative side. But the media may report whatever it may about each other's countries, but does the public find it reliable? For that, let's go once again to our social media platforms and Sarah Zaman, who monitors it all for us all week long. Sarah.
Absolutely. Aisha, on the question of reliability, most of our commenters from Pakistan don't have a favorable view of their media. Afridi King thinks media in Pakistan has never represented the public. It's only going after money, and we want to talk about every issue with India, but on the basis of equality. Ibn Kashmir says Pakistani media has never bothered to discuss the Kashmir issue, while Indian media remains completely biased when discussing that matter. As a Kashmiri, he says that some Indian journalists are a threat to this profession. And on Twitter, Hamid Pirzada says media on both sides is driven by their country's national policies, state machinery on both sides is using all kinds of propaganda tools. Now, some do believe that different groups within Pakistani media take a different approach when covering India-Pakistan relations. We have a video comment about that from Islamabad. Let's take a look.
One stream is working on the one agenda where they are presenting issues in a very mild manner, towards friendship, basically. We see things like Aman Ki Asha or stuff like this. But on the other end, we see that they dramatize things. One end going for friendship, other end going against that. So impact is overall neutral.
Raisha, judging from most of the comments that I'm looking at on our Facebook page, one thing seems quite clear, that people feel that if what their perception of the truth is not reflected in the media, then they don't seem to rely on the media, then they don't find media coverage reliable.
Sarah, that's a very interesting point. So let's find out from our experts. Mr. Alam, you heard what our viewers said, you heard what Sarah said. Is the media driving public opinion, or is the media driven by public opinion?
No, media first drives public opinion in the wrong direction, then become prisoner of that situation or public opinion which it creates. It happens everywhere. It happens in Pakistan, it happens in India. There are two essential differences in India and Pakistan. In India, there is a democratic consensus, and media adopts the policy of their foreign office, and we have a serious problem. But there are like Kumar Ketkar and Munaz Sharma and other people who have been raising voice of dissent and cautioning media against raising the war sentiment in India on various issues. In Pakistan, media is under great pressure from the military establishment, and they are coerced, and they are even killed. So many journalists have been killed, like Salim Shahzad was killed. There was a commission which didn't find the culprits who killed Salim Shahzad, and there are other cases too. And Hamid Mir is saying right, that media comes under great pressure in this sphere. But in Pakistan, media is radically independent in terms of defiance because of our democratic resistance to military rules. So in Pakistan, media is alienated from the state. And in India, media is part of the state establishment. That is the difference. But still, I would say there are very honorable examples in Pakistan and India, even in the best of circumstances.
Let me go to Mr. Singh. He's shaking his head. I think he wants to add something here. Go ahead, Mr. Singh.
You see, in Indian media is not working as an agent of the state. But of course, they cannot defy the state and just, do all kind of tricky things, which should not be done, number one. I'm very happy. I'm very happy.
Please explain, Mr. Singh, when you say the media cannot defy the state. Every time you do a story that goes against the government's policy.
There are rules, there are regulations, there is constitution, there are laws we have to be guided by. You cannot just contravene and say do flagrant violation of the laws. That we can't do.
But you can do stories critical of the government, staying within the legal limits. You can do stories highly critical of the government or even its foreign policy.
Let me tell all the panelists that media is very, very free in India, and I'm happy that the kind of what you yourself call defiance in Pakistani media. I am very happy for Pakistani media that they are evolving and they have withstood the pressure of all kind of things.
Okay, so let me ask all three of our panelists.
Let me just add one.
Can I say something?
One.
Yeah, go ahead, and then Mr. Mir, I'll come to you. Go ahead, Mr. Singh, finish.
Yeah, I'm saying that the democracy, the kind of democracy which is taking roots in Pakistan, and the first government, completed 5 years, the more democracy grows, the more democratic political establishment becomes, that will be very good for Pakistani media. And I think then we can have both kind will, balance, and then we will see.
Okay, let me, Mr. Singh, so we heard what you said about democracy. Let me quickly go to Mr. Mir. Mr. Mir, you want to add something?
Yes, I don't agree with this opinion which was said a few minutes ago that the Pakistani media never bothered to discuss the Kashmir problem. You see, the GeoTV and the Jung Group and many other media outlets in Pakistan, we have always discussed Kashmir. Kashmir is always a prime story in the Pakistani newspapers. I myself have organized the first ever one-to-one dialogue between Mr. Umar Abdullah, who is the Chief Minister of the Indian-controlled Kashmir, and Yasin Malik, who is a separatist Kashmiri leader belongs to the Srinagar. And we have organized a number of shows in which we invited not only the Indian parliamentarians, but also the Pakistani parliamentarians and the representatives of the Kashmiri people. So this is a lie. It's a baseless allegation that the Pakistani media have not discussed the Kashmir problem. We have not given proper attention to the Kashmir problem. And I want to say another thing. I don't, with a lot of respect, I don't agree with Mr. Singh. Maybe Indian media is free in Delhi and Mumbai, but in Jammu and Kashmir, the Indian media is not free. And recently, a journalist was arrested and tortured in Srinagar. And if you go through the Kashmir Times or the other papers which are published from Srinagar, their stories are different, and the newspapers which are published from Delhi, their stories are different. I think
that's a very interesting
Indian
point.
Army have not allowed Indian media to speak freely in Srinagar and Jammu.
Let me ask Mr. Singh, A, you want to make a comment on that, and B, why is it that these contentious issues, we see different coverage from different sides of the border?
You see, you can't just imagine everything to be ideal within no time, you see. But any violation of human rights, of anything which goes, which is anti-human, or say there is, the military resorting to something, that is reported in the mainstream media in India. Hamid Mir, it must be knowing it, that yes, it comes, any torture or any undue, kind of custodial killings, etc. It is reported, it is being reported in the mainstream media. But apart from that, what's happening, I am not somebody's representative, you see. I am speaking for a wider sense. The story is not about this or that. It is the story of India and Pakistan. And the media of both the countries will have to play a very positive, constructive, and a kind of, as a participant in this development.
Okay, let me come to you, Mr. Alam. You have seen the development of media on both sides. What are some of the positive things that you've seen, and what are some of the negative things that you've seen that you think need to change?
I have a serious problem with Pakistani and Indian media being nation-centric. Media should not get into this. Media should rise above all ethnic, religious, national, and even country divides. And media can play a great role in tilting scales in favor of understanding, amity, and a better understanding across the people. Media should bring into people who are suffering from conflict in various regions of conflict. Like, for example, our Fatah region in Pakistan, like Balochistan, like, for example, Kashmir, like from northeast of India, or like, for example, Sri Lanka, the Tamils, and even Nepal. So we have been raising all these issues, and we have been coming under great criticism. For example, there's a campaign in Pakistan to ban SAPA. We have been bringing people from across the borders together, and journalists across the border, to make them understand. We run a school. We teach journalists that they should rise above the national divides, so that they should be able to talk truthfully and objectively, with caution and with moderation, across the communities.
Okay.
And we must primarily focus on the people who suffer because of the conflict.
Okay,
but I think that is not
Mr. Alam, we have very little time left. I wish we could talk more. This is a topic that interests people on both sides of the border. But as you said, media must rise above ethnic, religious, or even geographical boundaries. Some might say media must report the truth as they see it without regard to who it might offend or not offend. But that is all the time we have for the show today. I want to thank our guests, Satish Singh, the editor of India Live, Imtiaz Alam, the executive director of SAFMA, and Hamid Mir, host of Capital Talk on Geo. Make sure you leave your comments about this show on our Facebook pages. Check out our website, urduvoa.com. Until next time, goodbye.
Thank you.